Welcome, everyone. This is the MasterClass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of experience in teaching, and I would like to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we'll be doing the story The Paper Menagerie, written by Ken Liu. Ken Liu is a Chinese American author. He was born in 1976. He is known for his science fiction and his fantasy works. He writes on the themes of cultural identity, on technology, and translation between cultures or interaction between cultures. Liu's background was as an immigrant because he moved to America from China when he was a child. This comes through very clearly in his writing. He's a very learned man holding degrees from Harvard University and Harvard Law School, and he has worked as a software engineer and as a lawyer before becoming a full-time writer. The Paper Menagerie is the first work to win the Hugo, Nebula, and World Fantasy Awards in the same year. Do you, as you get older, grow away from your parents? The story starts with Jack. It's one of his earliest childhood memories. He's crying. The father and the mother both try to calm him down. The mother takes a piece of wrapping paper, folds it into the shape of a paper tiger and breathes into it. Her love, her magic that she creates, brings the paper tiger to life. The tiger is called Lao Hu, which is Chinese for tiger. When she speaks to a child, she speaks a mixture of Chinese and English, thus instantly establishing the fact that they are of a mixed culture, an English background as well as a Chinese one. The boy is fascinated with his animal and he is very happy. He plays with it all the time. He doesn't realize till later how his mother has been able to create something so magical. When he goes to high school, he remembers asking his father how did he and his mother meet. And the father tells him that she was picked out of a catalogue. At that time, after the Second World War, there was a shortage of women in America and people had what they called mail order brides. Catalogues were made with women's photographs in them, and you were asked to choose your bride and you paid a suitable price for it. His father was looking through one such catalogue and he stopped at his mother. He fell in love with her, he didn't look at anybody else. He decided to marry her. He wrote a letter indicating his proposal. He was told that the mother was 18, he was told that she loved dance, he was told that she knew English. All of which was untrue. The father went over, liked what he saw, he married her. How did they communicate? The father hired a waitress who knew Chinese. So he used to talk to the waitress used to translate to the mother, and then backwards as well. They came back to the States, they had Jack. Jack was born on the year of the tiger. His mother created other animals for him on his request. The deer, a water buffalo. What does a water buffalo love? Water. So one day he jumped into soy sauce to wallow, but he's made of paper. The result was that his legs became soggy and he couldn't stand. They picked him up, they dried him, and in future they wrapped him up in cellophane so that he could wallow to his heart's content. The tiger, Lao Hu, enjoyed himself playing in the garden. He loved chasing birds. Until one day a sparrow pecked him and tore a corner of his ear because he was made of paper. He was patched up, but after that he never ever went near birds again. Once his mother made a shark for him, just because he requested her to. He had seen it in a TV documentary. The shark began flapping about aimlessly. He dropped it into water, and the shark swam around until the paper got soaked and sank to the bottom. By the time he pulled the paper out, there was no shark left. The mother made him another one, but this time out of tin foil. Tin foil doesn't soak in water. So he and Lahu had great fun watching the shark chase the goldfish in the bowl round and round. When he was 10 years old, the family moved to a new neighborhood. Some women from the neighborhood came over to welcome them. The father was going out somewhere, so he said, listen, I'm leaving you with my wife. You might find it a problem to communicate with her because she doesn't know much English. They began to make racist comments on the child about the way his eyes looked, his chinky eyes, and they were wondering whether he knew any English at all. The mother came out and they stood around without saying a word until the father came back. A boy called Jack comes over. It is the time of Star Wars. He has this toy, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is a mechanical toy. He picks up his arm and says, use the force. Jack is used to his animals. His mother has introduced him to the magic of origami. He doesn't find anything great in it. He is asked, do you have any toys? Brings out his paper menagerie. He starts with the tiger. Lao begins to prance up and down, and Mark says, it's nothing because, look at it. This is simply a piece of wrapping paper. He starts up his own toy, and when the toy moves, the tiger jumps at it and knocks it over, breaking it. Mark shows his anger, and in order to protect Jack, the tiger jumps at Mark. He cannot harm him because after all he is made of paper. But the boy screams, and destroys Lau and runs off, passing a racist comment on Jack. Jack goes to school. We don't really know what happens, but he comes back upset. He asks his father, "Do I look like a chink? Do I have slant eyes? Why do I look so different from other children?" His father says, "You don't. You look normal." But he is not to be persuaded. He is unhappy. Mother tries to talk to him, but he rejects her. He does not allow her to comfort him at all. He cannot stand up to the cultural bullying that he is given in school. He tries to pursue the American dream, and in doing so, he goes further and further away from his mother. He demands that in his house only English be spoken, only American food be made. The mother is unhappy, but she tries to change because she loves her son. She tries to speak in English, but the boy doesn't like it when she does so because she speaks only broken English and he's not very happy with the way she speaks. She tries to hug him like American parents, but he finds her hugs ungraceful. He doesn't like it. She learns cooking just so that he can eat American food. She tries to make new animals who try to make him happy, but he does not wish to have anything more to do with her. He thinks that his father has made a mistake in marrying her. Jack's father tries to talk to him, to reason with him, to tell him not to treat his mother that way, but Jack will not listen. He demands he gets a new set of toys and a complete set of Star Trek. The first thing he does, take the action figure of Obi-Wan Kenobi and give it to Ma. Then he packs up all the toys, the Paper Menagerie that his mother had made, into a shoebox. But the animals want to come out. The animals keep on banging on the box. What does he do? He picks up the entire box and puts it in an attic where he cannot hear them anymore. Whatever new toys the mother makes for him, he deflates them instantly so that her breath no longer animates them and puts them in the box in the attic. When he goes to college, his mother is diagnosed with cancer. She has been in pain for a great many years, but she has hidden it because she didn't want to trouble anyone. By the time they get to know about it, it is cancer. Too late to help her at all. He goes to visit her in hospital, but his mind is not on his sick mother. His mind is on the interviews that he has to face. His mind is on the job he expects to get. He sees no problems with leaving his dying mother and going back to college. His mother knows her son, so she tells him, "You can go, I know it is important, but please remember me on the date of Qingming." Qingming is a Chinese festival. He remembers how when he was a child, his mother used to write letters to her parents, fold those letters up in the shape of cranes, which she used to breathe life into and then release into the sky so they would fly back to China to pass this message on to her parents. The last words the mother spoke to Jack was to tell him how much she loved him, and Jack remembered how she used to take her hand, place it over her heart, and repeat I, again and again. I, it means love in Chinese. The mother dies, the father ages. Jack has realized he doesn't know much about his father either. He and Susan, his fiancée, go down to help his father pack. Susan finds these animals and she says, "Wow, what beautiful examples of origami." Jack notices they don't move and he thinks perhaps they never moved at all. Perhaps it is just my imagination that caused them to move. 2 years later, Jack is alone in the house. Susan is out of town. He's watching a documentary on sharks. And then he remembers the shark his mother made. He hears a noise, and who does he see? Lao Hu is there. It looks like his mother patched him up when she was able to. Susan did not understand the meaning of these animals, but she has placed them around her house because they're good to look at. She must have hidden away Lao Hu because he looks so shabby. He was the first animal made, remember? Jack realizes it is the Qingming festival. When Lao jumps onto his lap, he opens himself up to reveal a letter written in Chinese. Jack goes downtown. He looks for Chinese tourists and he asks them, "Could you please translate this letter for me?" His mother tells him about her background, the village that she was born in, the hardships that she faced. When times were so hard, when there was such a famine, that her mother fed her, but herself ate dirt in order not to feel hungry. Her mother showed her how to make paper animals, how to bring them to life. The entire village was famous for that. They used them for practical purposes. Paper tigers were used to chase away mice. Paper birds were made to chase away grasshoppers to protect their fields. In the Chinese New Year, they created small red dragons that used to zoom, dragging fireworks across the sky. It was a happy time, but it did not last. The Cultural Revolution followed. Her entire family was persecuted because her uncle, her mother's brother, was in Hong Kong, and at that time, anybody in Hong Kong who had relatives in China, they were considered traitors. The grandmother couldn't take it. She committed suicide by jumping into a well. The grandfather was dragged away and shot in the forest. The girl runs away. She tries to run away to Hong Kong, but she is caught stealing food from the fields. She is trafficked into Hong Kong and sold to the Chin family. The Chin family have 2 boys. She is supposed to look after them. She is beaten if they do something wrong. She is beaten if she does something wrong. She is forced to sleep in a cupboard. She is treated little better than an animal. She is not allowed to study. A few years have passed. A fish seller in the market where she goes to tells her that, child, you are growing up. The man at the house might take advantage of you. And if that happens, the woman of the house will make your life a living hell, much worse than it is already. So she takes her to these people who are arranging mail order brides. The woman explains to her how these mail order bride works. How all American men want is somebody who would cook and clean and keep house for them. And she is perfect for that. And she is put in a catalog. The mother's pain at losing her child to racism, at her child losing his cultural identity, losing her cultural identity, comes through in the letter. The pain is so much you can feel her heart breaking. Jack is ashamed, he cannot even look up, but he can and does trace the character I for love. He asks the woman to help him, and again he writes that character all over the back of the wrapping paper. He finally refolds it. It becomes Lahu again, and he tucks him under his arm. Both the friends walk away happy. Who are the characters in the story then? Jack, who is the narrator. We see him at different phases in his life. As a child, he is innocent, he is curious, he delights in his mother's creations. As a teenager, he is ashamed of his cultural heritage, and he is downright cruel in the way he rejects his mother. As an adult, he is successful, but he is dead emotionally, and he realizes too late what he has lost by rejecting his culture. Jack's mother also, we see her at different phases of her life. As a survivor, somebody who endures famine and political persecution, who has gone through traffic, who has been a servant. We see her as a loving parent, where she finds joy in finding her culture once again and in sharing it with her son. We see her artistic and magical side. Her command of origami is so good that she can bring creatures to life. She is also a very tragic figure. First, she loses her homeland and her family, then the son's love. Jack's father is a well-meaning but a passive person. He tries to help his son overcome his dislike of his mother, but ultimately allows him to do whatever he wants. He is pragmatic. He realizes that Jack must behave like an American, think like an American in order for him to succeed in life. The old lady who sells fish at the market. She provides the means for Jack's mother to escape her circumstances. Mark, the neighbor boy, who is both the antagonist and the catalyst in this particular story. His behavior forces Jack to change and reject his heritage. What are the settings in the story? The suburbs of Connecticut, Jack's first house, and then the neighborhood he moves to when he is 10 years old. China. In a flashback, we are taken to Sigulu village, Hebei province, during the Great Famine and the Cultural Revolution. Hong Kong, where Jack's mother was trafficked and lived in servitude. The hospital, where Jack's mother dies, and Jack's apartment in a different city where he rediscovers Lao Hu and his mother's letter. And finally, the urban setting where he goes to find a tourist or anyone who can help him to translate the letter. What are the literary devices that are used by the author? The first person narrative, which allows us to connect instantly with the child, which allows us to feel his hurt, his cruelty, his understanding and acceptance of his mother later on in his life. There is magical realism. Paper animals come alive through the mother's breath. They serve as a bridge between reality and magic. There is symbolism. The paper animals, they symbolize love and memory. The tiger symbolizes the narrator's Chinese identity and his relations with his mother. But the torn and mended animals, which are patched up again and again, represents the mother's relationship with his son, which can never be broken, but which needs to be always repaired. The wrapping paper, that how beautiful things can be disguised to look as something ordinary. There is the metaphor of how the animals become flat when the air goes out of them, thus removing all life from them, is the same as when Jack rejects his mother, causing her spirit to break. There is irony. Jack rejects his own heritage in order to fit into America, but in doing so, he loses his own cultural heritage. He loses what makes himself unique. There is juxtaposition. The consumer culture of America, the Star Wars toys, for example, versus the traditional Chinese folk art, zezi or origami. There is the epistolary elements, in other words, the letter, which provides the mother's backstory and the emotional revelation that hits Jack. There is a bilingual narrative. Chinese words are sprinkled freely across the text. It tells us both about the divide between the mother and the son, as well as how they bridge the gap that holds them both together. What are the themes here? Cultural identity, assimilation, How much is the struggle to balance your own culture if you are an immigrant or you are coming from a different country? How much you need to lose of yourself to truly become an American or to fit into society? There is intergenerational trauma. The famine, the cultural revolution, the trafficking, it affects the relationships between family across generations. There is the cost of shame. Jack is ashamed of who he is, of his own culture. And what happens? He damages his own relationship with his mother and ultimately hurts himself. Language and communication. Language is important. It helps us to connect with each other. It also can serve as a dividing factor. And if we lose our cultural languages, it is a great loss. There is maternal love and sacrifice. The mother offers unconditional love, no matter how badly Jack treats her, no matter how cruel he is to her. She sacrifices everything in the hope that he will have a better life, that he will be happy. There is memory and regret. At the end of the chapter, we understand the painful rejection. We finally recognize how much of us is lost when we forget who we are, where we come from. There is immigration and displacement when you are caught between two worlds. You neither belong here nor you belong there. So what are you? How do you fit into both sides? There is the magic of storytelling. Cultures and traditions are kept alive through stories that are passed down from generation to generation. That's the lesson there for you then. I do hope I have been able to help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe and share. There would be others who would be needing our help. Thank you so much for watching.